What is going on, guys? Your boy Guns here, and with me today we got our boy Boss Nasty here. You guys see him right there. We got his camera up from Discord. Yeah, guys, I was mainly gonna hit up Boss to kind of talk about the home realms coming around the corner. As you guys know, been one of the main ones, if not the only one, covering the way that he has and to the depth that he has. And so I figured might as well record this for you guys. You guys can hear the conversation we're gonna have. This is a non-scripted, non-formal. We're just chilling, hanging out. I'm asking them questions. So the first one that I was gonna ask you, Boss, is like, what can people do right now to be able to see like what kingdoms are even worth going to, right? Because for me, just to share with you, like what I see is I'm just looking at the Discord chats, like who's active, like how are their members communicating to one another. Even like little raids of alliances come into my streams, or I'll even notice them in your streams or other people. Like these groups are staying very active. I don't know if they have it already planned. Like, all right, guys, it's time to get active if people see our name. But from what you have seen, like, how can people gauge like what kind of alliances they want to be in? I know it's a very broad term, but like, if you were to pick like 2 or 3 things, like what can people be looking at right now?
Yeah, so first off, thank you for hanging out with your boy. It's a pleasure being here with the Gunner Sizer himself. Yeah, no, obviously, obviously, it really depends on if you're a player or an alliance and how you're viewing it. But in short, and I did a few videos talking about kind of like the player guide and the alliance guide to home kingdoms and realms, and kind of just preparing yourself for how it's going to be. But to be honest, I just think keep it as simple as possible. Just making sure you're in an active alliance, making sure that, and hopefully you're in an alliance, right? Just to kind of reap some of those general rewards and benefits from just having, more activity, more engagement, more socialization that you can get out of that experience. Making sure that, you're actively playing your account and you're keeping up with it. So that way you also have an opportunity to not only be in an active alliance, but hopefully to stay in one as well. Maybe going and taking a look at the Tamaris Season 1 map, which you can do by just simply zooming all the way out of your account, going to where you can look at all the kingdoms, and then just going to Tamaris or Season 1, and then clicking on basically any of the kingdoms that just have numbers in them, right? They don't have any letters before them. That's also how you'll know that those are Season 1 kingdoms, slash home kingdoms. But that gives you kind of an early look at, for those, especially for those that are in season 2 and beyond. As you know, a number of us have played 5-6 seasons now, especially if you started early on. So the idea of what a home kingdom is probably farther, like to try and have people recall and remember exactly how their season 1 played out and the season 1 map, unless they played in SB2, or I'm sorry, in T1 season, right, which they were able to kind of go back to and play a little bit of. It just may not be, it may be more of an afterthought. So being able to go back to the kingdom and seeing how it's positioned, right, because that's most likely what you're going to end up going back to, seeing what the layout is, and just getting a little bit more familiar on that front. And then as far as, alliances go, I think, just doing the same thing, going back, looking at things like, where are we going to drop a CF, how are we going to flag, throughout, how are we going to do territory distribution, coordinating and communicating with other alliances to see how you are all going to work together in this kingdom, especially for those that have 2 or more. Yeah, so those would be my few things.
For sure, for sure. And I feel like, okay, so the other topic that I want to talk about, at first I was pretty set on being like anti-passports being super expensive, but now I'm kind of like in the middle. Like they shouldn't be too expensive, but they shouldn't be too easy. And my boy, I don't know if you know who Abda is, but he kind of changed my perspective. He's like, if they make passports like not like super expensive, but at least like people would have to, give it some thought. They would have to fix their relationships and like figure out a way to make it work. So essentially it would promote a little bit more loyalty than it being super cheap and people just leave. Oh, you sneezed the wrong way, I'm out. But for me, it's almost like a dilemma. I'm in the middle, but I'm still leaning more towards like giving people that freedom to move around, because I feel like they've gotten a lot of people very used to moving around as soon as they're not happy, which I think is good. And now, if the passports are too expensive, for the first time since this game has been out, I'm genuinely concerned for the game's health if the passports are too expensive, especially because a lot of us come from Rise of Kingdoms and we literally have PTSD of being trapped in a kingdom, bro. Like legit, that's how I end up quitting Rise of Kingdoms. I stopped playing for like a season or two. I got zeroed, right? So I'm like looking for a home. No, my power was too high for season 2. On top of that, based off my account profile, I looked inactive, so they didn't even want to pick me up. Like, dude, it was a nightmare. So, like, what were you lean towards? Like, super cheap, middle, or like, let's just make it expensive? What would you lean towards?
I mean, it definitely is a loaded question. I can definitely see where, I mean, there's pros and cons, right? I see where Abd is coming from, when it comes to, because this is the thing, right? Is that to me, it doesn't really matter necessarily if the cost is really cheap or it's very expensive. The one thing that supersedes all of that is as long as they have some kind of pure accept and system at all levels, right? So if you have a pure gated kingdom, which in my view is really what it should be, then you will hopefully have a higher percentage chance of getting people in that have good intentions and that actually want to be there, right, for the right reasons, compared to just letting anyone in, and or uh, people in that maybe don't have the best intentions. And so, I'm always going to be more of an advocate for that than anything else. But as far as it comes to how easy it is to move, right? Depending if something costs more or costs less, I think right now, the 5K gem cost, I don't see anything wrong with the current system the way it is. I understand why they probably want to change it, because there's just generally from a business perspective, there's probably a higher percentage chance of making more money from implementing it the similar way that Rock does. The thing about it is that like 5K gems probably equates, however much that costs. So like what's let's see real quick. How much is 5K gems? So 5K gems is $20. Okay. So $20 is 5K gems is $20. So in Rock passports, I believe it's like 1 for 5, 2 for 10, like 3 for 15 or something like that, right? So you're probably looking at like 4 passports, give or take, right, for $20. And we know that 1 passport is for 5 million and less power. Now, if you're averaging a passport per 5 million power, which you could, then you're probably looking at like 20 to 25 mil for what would effectively be $20 for 5K gems. Meaning that once you go beyond that, and now you're at like 25, 30 mil plus, it's obviously costing more than 5K gems and more than $20. And the majority of players are going to probably be, I don't know if I say the majority, but I guess I could say the majority of active players are probably going to be higher than that. Especially if you've played more specifically, right, a full season. It's like if you're season 2 and beyond, there's a really good chance that you're probably either close to there or you're above that. And so that's where you kind of start looking at like how much is it going to cost scaling beyond that, kind of break that previous system point at 5K gems. So beyond that, as it comes to like, to me, like I said, it doesn't, I think the thing is like if it's easier to move, then keep in mind you can only move once every season, more or less, right? Because I think they said something about having like a 30-day cooldown, which there's not really a need to have a cooldown in my opinion. You just tell people that you can only move during the migration window, which is going to be more than 30 days anyways. So I don't know, it just felt a little redundant for them to say that. But then if you make the cost more for active players that have been playing for a while, really all is the difference. All the difference really is like, am I going to be able to potentially move every season, or am I going to be able to move 2 seasons or more away? But the way I look at this, last thing I'll say about the migration thing is or at least to add in, is that people have to be selecting. People should be thinking about how often really should I be moving? Because you shouldn't be planning on like jumping from kingdom to kingdom unless you're just playing like the rogue play style, or you just want to go merc group it all up, all
Hey.
over the place, and then that's one thing. But the majority of players don't do that. The majority of players want to be in a place that they can call home, that they can hopefully build a community, especially once they start understanding more of what home kingdoms and home realms really have to offer. So it's more likely that when you move, the intention should be, I'm going to move with this hopefully being the one and only time I need to, right? It's like, I need to try and find the best place that I can go to, the best place that I can migrate to. How do I do that? But once I find it, I should have this intention of I'm moving because this is the right fit for me. This is a better place for me than where I'm currently at. And I'm going to move and then I'm going to stay there. It's not, I'm going to move and then I'm going to immediately start saving up to move again, right? Like for the majority of people, that should not be what the thought is. And so if you think of it like that, then really, you really should only want to move once. And that doesn't mean that a situation will never come up where you may need to move again, but it's just a different way of approaching the thought process between, right, oh god, the pricing sucks and everything, right, with the assumption that, or if you're thinking, okay, I may need to move multiple times, compared to, I just need to find like the next best place for me, and then if I stay there, right, it's like a one-time investment and I'm kind of done. But yeah, I mean, generally speaking, I don't, my view is the same that when I stated it before, is I don't see the need to switch. I don't think there's anything wrong with the 5K gem cost.
Dude, I 100% agree. I was telling my boy Saint in Gray Balls, I'm like, dude, just like how you said right now, like I don't like the 5K gem cost is not bad, like, but if people can control who's going in there, like that would be better. The other thing I want to lead into is like I think we're finally gonna see which alliances are gonna remain in that top four, because one of the things that I've noticed is people right now are just going wherever the power's at. There's plenty of people from number 1 down to number 5 that I've spoken to that are not happy where they're at, but it's really, there's not too many options right now, given that it's mainly like a division. You can only choose from people in your little cluster. So it'd be interesting to see where people are moving. And just from the people that I've talked to, like the top 4 that I've heard, it's like EIS, TFS, Noir, ROE. At least those are some of the main ones that have come up to mind. And people talk about BXS as well. Yeah, I think those are like the main like 4 or 5, and even in the Discord, like those are the main people that I see that are like pretty damn active within their communities. And people are starting to like cause a little bit of drama, planting seeds. We're not gonna say names, right? But people are like bringing up past, like, oh, well, this guy did this or this guy did that. You know how the drama goes in these games, especially when it comes to recruiting, bro. It starts getting real nasty. That's why for me, like with being a content creator now, like, dude, I'm just a normal player out there. Like, I don't get involved with politics. I just try to stay very neutral when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah, man. No, I hear you on that. It's I think it's going to be interesting depending on how I mean, you're going to get kingdoms of all different sizes. You'll get ones where it's, we just want to be one alliance and we're just going to kind of go the mega alliance route. Maybe we'll have 2, 3, or 4 active alliances. But the warband system is very much incentivizing and playing into this idea of having multiple active alliances. And I think when you look at them, including the warband system, plus them saying that they're planning to increase server capacity from season to season up until a certain season, and then they'll just kind of plateau it off. You look at those 2 areas, and they all kind of speak to the same common output, which is that now they're going in a direction of like, we want multiple active alliances. And I think they're starting to understand. I hope they're starting to understand this, because I talk about this a lot, which is that you're going to make more money as a game the more you control the bleed, and the more you mitigate player drop off. So you'd rather have 1,000 active players in every kingdom, because that's potentially up to 1,000 people that may spend on the game, compared to kingdoms that might just only have 2 or 300, 2 to 400 people that are in the kingdom. So it's a simple numbers game. The more people you have, the more likely it is that more of that pool or portion of people will spend. And so it is very interesting how they started off, because you may remember they did at one point come out and say like, oh no, we want our game to be more alliance focused, but now it's like they're flipping this 180. Right, they are very much, they're flipping this 180, and even though they're not saying, oh yeah, we want it to be more kingdom multi-alliance focused, right, they haven't came out and publicly said that, but if you pay attention to the breadcrumbs, you could see it for what it is.
Yeah, now that you mentioned that, I was thinking like, I wonder like how big the server cap is gonna be now, or like the realm cap. Like is it gonna be like roughly like an S tier quote unquote alliance, like the size of 12 all the way up to 17 billion, and then two medium. Like I wish that information, and I hope that information comes out before the realm stuff comes out, because that way our fives and our fours can get those Excel sheets ready. Like, okay, we have about 3 shells worth of freaking alliances. Like, this is how we're gonna do it. I hope that comes out prior to like the big launch. Now, the question I have for you, so there's a lot of confusion right now, and I'm not gonna lie, even I don't 100% know. Are we gonna go back to our home realm, play out essentially a farm season, consider if you don't have a civil war, I guess, um, and then you're gonna go be able to do like full crossover?
Yeah.
Like, go ahead.
No. Yeah. So the easy answer is that you're going to go back to your Tamaris season 1 kingdom, which is what I was referencing before, right? So if you go and you look at, like, I think it's like 333 to 381 right now are the kingdoms that are there in season 1. So you're going to go back to that map, and your territory is going to be, all alliance territory is going to be reset. Passes will be open, behemoths are open, villages are open, but all those things are reset. So you basically have to like reflag out and recapture. That's like the pain point there. From what I've heard, you're going to be randomly plopped in a zone 1, in a starting zone 1 in the home kingdom when you eventually go back. You're not going to be able to pick it, but you will be able to move between starting zone 1. So you'll eventually be able to gather, right, and find all of your alliance mates. You're most likely going to be there for, I would argue, right, 1 to 2 weeks. And the reason why you're probably not going to be there longer than that is because you can get an idea from this on that end of season timeline we saw, right, that they've showed off a few times in some of the recent YouTube videos that they put on their channel. And what it shows you is the phases, right? So you have the EOS phase that starts, you have the migration phase, you have the summary phase, you have the home realm phase, and then you have the KVK new start phase. So I think there was like 4 or so of those that showed there. So this kind of gives you an idea that you're not going to be there for a whole season. It's probably going to be 1 to 2 weeks. That's what I'm guessing based on that. And then you're going to get populated into your new KVK, and it's going to be the same, then it'll be the same thing, right? It'll show you who you get matched with. It'll show your match, or it'll probably be like matchmaking. So it'll be like summary, home realm, matchmaking, and then KVK, right? Because it's also show you who you're going to get paired with, and then you'll go right into the next season. And when the next season starts, then you'll be able to choose if you want to go into the KVK map or if you want to stay in your home kingdom, right? So you have that opportunity. But yeah, that's the short version. Is you're not going to be there for a full season. It's most likely going to be, I would estimate, a week or 2 is what I'm thinking.
Damn,
until they say otherwise.
That's pretty fast. I mean, I'm not complaining, right? You get back into the fighting. I think even for me, one of the things I was thinking, I'm like, man, I really don't want to be stuck freaking farming somewhere for a month. I'm already doing that just about every season before I even get any action. But hopefully they do get that situated.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing about it as well is, that to your point, right? You don't want to sit there and farm for that long, and I think that's a part of why they reduced the season from averaging 75 days now to 50. Where they basically effectively cut it in a third. And then they're also keeping the amount of time you're going to be in the home kingdom to a short period, right? Which is basically enough time. If you think about, like, because this is what people have to think about, right? Like, you basically have, like, most KVKs are decided before the season finishes. So you have however long at the end of the season, which let's just say a week. Let's just say the final week of the season is like everything's already been decided. So you got like a week left. Maybe there's some small skirmishes here and there, but no more large scale fighting. So you got a week. Then you go to home realm. Let's say you're there for let's play the conservative game. You're there for a week, and then you have the start of the next season. Well, you're going to be going to a dedicated starting zone 1 that everyone from your kingdom's going to go to, and no other kingdoms are going to that, right? So it's basically like a free starting zone 1. And then let's say you're there for a week before zone 2 where the fighting starts. So even if you're playing like really conservative numbers on this, you basically have 2.5 to 3 weeks to heal, right? Which
Yeah,
I
that's
would
fair.
argue
Yeah.
is more than enough time, if not enough time, for everyone before. So I think the way they're playing this out is good because they're like testing out kind of both sides of the spectrum, where it's one side we started a lot higher and we realized that we don't need for KVKs to run that long, and now they're trying to reduce it, and then they're going to see how that plays off and then potentially make adjustments from there. So I mean, personally, I think it's a good move, as long as they stay flexible with understanding that, if it's a little bit too short, maybe we'll add a week. If it's a little bit too long, right after we do it a couple seasons, maybe we'll take a couple days off or lower it by another week. So
Yeah, because what they said as of right now, it's what, 50 days compared to our about 75 days right now.
yeah.
Damn. That's good though. You know what I was telling one of my buddies. I'm like, yeah, I know you talk about you want like a faster pace, but like, damn, dude, like some of us have like crazy busy schedules, so like being able to like chill for like a week, at least a week or two, is cool. So like I don't know, I feel like 50 days might just be about right. Um, but the other thing too, hopefully, I know you saw that you're no longer going to be able to choose like your starting region, right? So essentially your whole warband will be in that one area. I wonder if they're going to put like multiple realms together to like kind of, I don't know if you're familiar with, maybe it's changed now, but Rise of Kingdoms would have like tiers of realms, right? Like S tier, A tier, B tier, whatever, and they'll kind of just like match them. They'll just match them up, and I feel like I'm like that'd be kind of cool, On top of that, people like that like stamp of status, like we're a S tier or we're a A tier home realm, and I think that would help them with the whole like matchmaking, because I'm sure you've looked around, dude. There's a lot of starting regions that have like one or two alliances, and I'm like, and I think about it, right? I'm like, maybe that's how they wanted the starting regions to be. They didn't want it to be chaotic and people fighting off the rip. They kind of just want it to be like a starting zone, like you're leveling up your heroes and then moving in. Maybe that's the goal there, but it'd be interesting to see how much bigger like the KVKs are.
Yeah.
And can the servers even handle it? I think I was watching you stream BDO and NASA, and BDO was coming across with the Black Plague, and like, dude, you can even see like there's so many players on the BDO side, at least from what I saw. You can even read the names. Like they're just stacked on top of each other. It was nuts.
Yeah, I mean, it was like one of those things where even when I put simple on, it was just a lot. It was just a lot, and some other people told me too as well, like people that just have higher end PCs than I do, that they were even seeing lag as well. So with that in mind, I'm hoping it's not just a hardware thing on my end, even if it may factor in a bit here and there. It was just a lot. It was just a lot of units.
No,
on
it
the
was
field.
yeah,
And
no
it's funny
doubt.
because it got me
doubt.
thinking about this idea that I had, where it almost makes me wonder, like what if they just made it where everyone only was able to send out like one unit, but the Legion cap on that unit was a lot higher, right? Like kind of think of it like you're basically playing League of Legends, like where your unit is your champion, but it's just one unit, right, that everyone gets out of the field. And obviously you can switch up the unit right when it comes back and everything, but like units wouldn't die as fast, so you can make the argument that you might have a little bit more tactical and strategic opportunities out of the field. But it just got me thinking because of just how often the lag is that bad for large scale fights. But yeah, just a small random thought.
No, yeah, for sure. And I don't know if you've seen, but I saw last season it was TFS and EIS. They were going up against each other in the open field, and like it was an actual open field fight, dude. It was a massive like plateau, and they made this like freaking huge like 3x3 line. So it was like more like a freaking Civil War style like line, And
Yeah,
I'm
it's
like,
like
oh,
Rome Total War.
yeah.
That's what it reminds me of.
I'm like, oh, interesting how they're, setting up like this instead of like, what people have been seeing a lot of bananas and whatnot and all kinds of other fruits. Uh,
Okay.
and I think it was Saad. He was like, oh, we told our troops to do that because it helps reduce lag. I'm like, dude, that's pretty damn genius.
Yeah, I guess
Spreading
that
out
could
the
make
troops.
sense. Yeah, because they're not overlapping on top of one another. Like if they're overlapping on the same tile, yeah, maybe that does help.
Yeah. So kind of reeling it back with the for the home realm stuff, guys. I'm gonna share with you guys something that I've been doing personally. You know, you gotta keep your options open, right? You never know like what other potentials there can be to move. But like I said, one of the main things that I look at is how active is their community, right? Because for me, along with a lot of other people, dude, it's about community. You know what I mean? Like in Discord, like me and like two, three of my boys, we were just chilling in Discord talking for hours about the game, new video ideas, like what's going on, like what are people talking about? Is capturing dragon actually a win? Or look at that. I knew you were gonna get a laugh at that. Like, what are people talking about? You know what I mean? Like, that's what I feel like a lot of people need to bring it back to. Focus more on building those communities, especially for, R5s and R4s watching this video. Like, start focusing on building your communities. There's a lot of top alliances, bro. Believe it or not, and I'm sure you probably have seen it or have heard. There's no Discord presence, even during war. It's like, how is that even possible? Right? Like I've been in alliances with Jason for 2 seasons, and this guy is out there freaking calling shots. Like, all right, go back, refresh, like chill. You know what I mean? Like you almost don't even need markers out in the field.
Did you listen to the listening I did on them for those 2 days?
Yeah, yeah. The Spire War? The
Yeah,
Spire
yeah,
War
yeah.
one? Oh yeah, that one was good. That one was good. I said, get up there, get up there. I'm like, dude, for me, I'm a military guy and have a lot of sports background, so I'm like, I'm all for that like tough love at being out in the field to a certain extent, right? I feel like there's a good balance of being able to be assertive and making sure that people know to take you serious while at the same time not like belittling somebody at the same, like it's a skill, dude. It's a leadership skill.
It's a soft skill.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's I it's funny because I thought of doing that, and the reception I got when I did those two were really good. Like I was somewhat shocked people really were enjoying those on those listen-ins for the top, and after I did that, I've had a number of other alliances that have been like, yeah, boss, you can come in anytime, and just let us know. And typically when I do that, it's always like I always like to let the alliance know, and then it's like, okay, hey, I recorded this, you're cool with me using this. Just to make sure everything's on the up and up and copacetic. But yeah, it was interesting because for me, I've heard it a lot of different ways, and being able to hear those 2 days that I recorded, that I did the listen-ins for TFS, you really saw like the polar opposites, right? You saw Jason, and then you saw, and I'm forgetting who the other person's name was, who was mainly doing the shot calling there on the second day. But you got to see two different styles,
Might have been Sod.
and it might have been Sod. I mean, yeah. So if anything, I'm shocked because usually Sod is sucking, but if that's the case, he actually would have been doing an okay job that time. So, but my point overall is that there's not kind of one size shoe that fits all. And to your, like you said, right there, you may have different leadership styles, you may have different communicating styles, and I think we can always point to certain common denominators that we may feel work more comfortably or more efficiently than others. But at the same time, for me, it was really more about kind of showing the diversity of what you can get within this game, on how you have different kingdoms, you have different alliances, you can have different styles here and there, and you can have different styles that can be successful, different styles that can maybe not be successful. But just trying to kind of show off some differences in how approaches can be done to them. And so I just thought that the listen-in, the two-part video series was kind of a great way of being able to showcase that. So hopefully we'll be able to do that a little bit more.
Dude, I was throwing out an idea, but ultimately chat and my buddy that was in the Discord with, I think it was Gray. I was like, dude, how would it be? Of course they're freaking cutting the lawn out right now. Why wouldn't they? Anyways, I was like, dude, imagine like a essentially like a open KVK or open migration like press conferences with R5s and R4s and everyone kind of discussing, like kind of give their pitch. But I'm like, maybe it'd be better to do them individually, because then it would turn into a freaking, Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney freaking press conference, like coming at each other. I think that's something that I would like to see, like, essentially, you know, either me, you, any other of the content creators giving these top alliances or any alliance really that, has established, or that when we look at them, like, okay, that's a pretty established community, like, we'll allow them to, like, come on and, like, give their sales pitch, man. Because at the end of the day, like how you said, there's no, like, hub to see, like, how good are these alliances? Like, where do I even go? Like,
Yeah.
like, you can even, I mean, a lot of people won't join alliances just off someone's tone of voice, right? Imagine, like, you join an alliance and you're like, oh damn, I wish I would have at least heard this guy talking. Like, people are pretty picky like that. So it'd be cool to have, like, being able to do that, and even how you said going into those listen-ins on Discord will be dope, because now they're like, okay, damn, like their commanders are getting after it.
Yeah, it's it kind of goes into one of the things we were talking about earlier with one of those other projects I'm working on that ties right into that is, you know, basically what I want to create, what I'm planning to create is a is a community public spreadsheet that lists off every single kingdom in the game and then gives you migration recruitment information on all of those kingdoms. Which, it's one of those things where, like, something like that really hasn't been done before. That's kind of like a go-to place where you can get good entry level information and then figure out if you want to contact that kingdom from there or not. Like, Rock has never done something like this to my knowledge. I don't know any kingdom builder that has ever done anything like this to my knowledge. And it's funny because, if you want to leave or you want to migrate or you want to join someone else that is outside of your kingdom, the only ways that you can really go about doing that, like, if I wasn't doing my top 25 series and showing people like these other, these game wide stats, the only way that you could really go about that is through word of mouth for the most part, right? It's either word of
Yeah.
mouth or people that you have played in KVKs with, or going on the official Discord and looking at the recruitment channel. But that's it. And in most cases, you're only ever going to get you're going to get a very small pool of people,
True.
alliances, and or kingdoms that you will be aware of. But it's always going to be a very small percentage. It might be 1% of all the kingdoms that are out there, or 0.5% of all the kingdoms that are out there, as far as for the ones that are promoting themselves, right? And so you're the short version is you're never going to get the full picture. And so, this is something I realized when I was playing Rock, and I almost wish someone did something like this in Rock, because it would just make finding a home and just filtering out options, like just knowing what are my options out of all 381 kingdoms right now.
Yep.
If I could filter this down to 5 kingdoms to reach out to, like, who wouldn't want to do that, right? Who wouldn't want to be able to filter out all the kingdoms that are in the game and figure out, okay, well, these 3, these 4, these 5, or these 6 make sense, or they feel like it's probably more of where we want to take our group. Or maybe it's where I want to join individually, or maybe it's where me and a couple buddies, or me and 50 players, or me and a full alliance, or 2 or more alliances, right? We want to move our family out of this kingdom and we want to go to another kingdom where they have 1 or 2 active alliances, and we'll add 1 or 2. But how do we figure out where to go? How do we figure out the best place for us? And so that's what my hope is. My hope is for this to be like a resource that the community can use, and it's going to be public. I'm going to update it in real time. I'm just going to have one copy that I update constantly, and the idea is for me to kind of coordinate with kings and queens in their kingdoms, so they can give me the information that I may need or provide that, so that way I can always be updating the sheet like once a month or so, or however often, outside of if anything changes they can let me know, and then maybe even add some people on that can help me with updating that information as well. But yeah, I mean, to me, I feel like this is hope. I feel like it's pretty revolutionary, because I just don't know something like this that's ever been done, and I
Yeah,
hope it's
absolutely.
something that a lot of people will be able to take advantage of. Right, to your point.
Yeah, or you like, even like just how you said, bro. Like I said, like I mentioned earlier, like in Rise of Kingdoms, right? I was when I got zeroed, I got down to 55 million power. And I had to click through each and every kingdom to see their power requirements and min cap. Like, dude, I'm not even kidding you. I clicked through like 100 different freaking kingdoms and I didn't fit any of their criterias. I'm just like, damn, dude. But like, that's why it'd be good.
What if you just could have? What if you could have clicked the drop down filter on a spreadsheet and just selected 40 to 55 or 55 plus?
Yep.
It would have
That'd be huge.
immediately made your searching so much easier. You would have spent 30 seconds doing that compared to 300 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, guys, and I know a lot of you guys don't know our guy BN, aka Mr. Kingdom Builder, but if you don't, we're gonna have his YouTube description, his link down in the description. That way you guys can also stay up to date with more information when it comes to stats, home realm stuff, covering wars. Our guy Mr. BN does it. So that'd be cool, dude. Nah, the pressure's on now. We're gonna be expecting that data sheet from BN, be able to see like which kingdoms have what requirements, dude. On top of that, man, I'm such a nerd, dude. I love talking about this stuff, dude. More people, like, there's more whales, believe it or not. Like, I know some players from Rise of Kingdoms that are like considering coming over to Call of Dragons now that they have the High King, High Queen freaking positions, you know what I mean? And it's gonna be interesting to see, dude. And I can't wait, dude. I'm excited. I'm not sure if have you ever been in R5 before, BN? I think you said you were in charge of a few projects, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So you're very aware how time consuming that is, dude. So my hat's off to all those R5s and R4s that are actually doing their jobs, because definitely a lot of slackers out there. But damn, dude, yeah, dude, it's crazy. It's a service, dude. Like, that's the way I look at it, dude. These guys doing that for alliances, big shout out to them. It's a lot of dedication, and I've seen a lot of players, kind of going off on a little side rant, get burnt out, guys. So and actually BN talked about that in one of his recent videos too, about I don't
the title giving or something I might have mentioned when it comes to the king on like how management gets burnt out.
Yeah, dude, like even the title stuff, right? Like, we heard about title giving, and a lot of us have been title givers before. Got like PTSD from that. And on top of that, I think you hit the nail on the head when you're like, for a lot of these guys, I don't know how many of them have experience with being a king and queen of a realm, but damn, dude,
I want to talk about that.
Like, be ready, bro. You guys got to be ready. Make sure that you got a good team. So yeah, go ahead, BN. You say you want to touch on that?
Oh no. I think you put it pretty well, which is that it's something. The difference with COD is that COD didn't start with home kingdoms, right? So and it didn't start with a king or queen system. So most of the people that are coming in, unless you have experience playing a kingdom builder that has those two mechanics in the game, this is going to feel foreign to you. It'll feel new. But it very much, how I articulated it in the kind of expectations video I put out on that is, it is a lot. It's a lot more that goes into it than I think most people think. And I think one of the examples I gave was just, it's different than being an alliance lead. Like, being an alliance lead and being a kingdom leader or a king or queen is, because obviously we have to shout out the ladies out there, is that it's going to be different. And, whereas when you're running an alliance, you're responsible for up to 200 people. When you're running a kingdom, you're responsible for up to everyone that's active in that kingdom. It could be hundreds. It could be 500-600. It could be 1,000 people. And you never know what's going to happen. One of the things I talk about is that, when you become a king or queen, you're going to get messaged, like, out of the boondocks, out of the cuddy bows, from the woodworks. You know what I mean? Like, from the shed behind your house that's behind a river on the other side of the mountain that's across an ocean, you're going to get message from people. And, it could be anything from, hey, can you come help us with this? Or, hey, can you give us some support? Or, hey, can you give us a gift? Can someone join?
We have a mercenary group.
I mean, yeah, it could be anything. And it's very much, I always believe, is that it's really going to kind of separate the men from the boys, right? It's going to separate the amateurs from the professionals on, and it's going to separate the kingdoms that are going to be able to thrive and utilize it versus those that will succumb and kind of fall to the pressure of it, because it very much is a thankless job. It more or less is a full-time-ish job to an
The
extent.
service.
That's what it is. It's customer service. It's tech support. It's being a not a psychiatrist, but being a therapist, and all that.
Hey,
Wrapped into one.
maybe even a psychiatrist for some of the situations. Oh, here's
No, 100%. And it just is. Like, that's the easiest way to put it. Is that it's a lot more that goes into it, and I detail out a number of these things in the video that I did, just to try and give people some realistic expectations. And it's not meant to necessarily scare anyone. It's just meant to really to give people the appropriate information, so they go in being aware compared to being unaware, and then getting frustrated or getting anxious or getting stressed out because people are wondering, hey, why are these people messaging me? Like, I have nothing to do with them. They don't know me. I don't know them. Why am I getting these messages? And I mean, it's anything under the sun that you could potentially think of that could happen, may or will happen. And it's just better to be prepared for something like that, because it also will lead into whether or not your kingdom's going to be successful. It'll lead into whether or not people want to stay there or they want to leave. And if your kingdom becomes one that doesn't have a lot of activity and is kind of on its track or path of dying out or becoming more or less a dead kingdom, that also can make people leave and quit the game. And I think we all want the game to be as healthy and as active as possible. So for me, I love being able just to share some wisdom and some experience and educate a little bit in certain areas for that some people just may not be privy to. They just may not have done it before or really understand the full scope of everything that goes into it. Because for me, the way I view the community is it's a rising tide lifts all boats, right? The more people that stay playing, the more people that stay active, the more people that have successful and healthy kingdoms, the more people that will spend money on the game, the less player drop off we'll have, and the longer the game lasts.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the other things that you have touched in one of your videos, it's like, these kings and queens and other people that are going to play that role as well, kind of rotating that around, if people decide to do that, right? They are I think, correct me if I'm wrong, they're essentially the key holders to each server that are essentially like the moderators of how successful the game will be, you know, based off, building community, you know, recruiting, like all that stuff. It really is in each and every one of those kings and queens hands how this happens. I think that's pretty exciting. I'm not gonna take on that role, but good luck to those of you that take on that role. And I'm sure BN will have a list of the new kings and queens. We should do like a ceremony, dude, for for the new kings and queens. stepping up to the plate. All right, guys. So we're getting close to the end of this recording here. We kind of just wanted to give you guys team up here with our boy BN, aka Mr. Kingdom Builder. You guys know he'll be able to drop his description down below, and we just kind of wanted to get together and you guys can kind of hear, like, bro, these conversations, amongst content creators and their Kingsguard, or content creators and their buddies, or just a lot of people are having these conversations. But I feel like we as a community need to do our part and put that out and say, hey guys, these are the things we need to be looking for. These are the things, kings and queens need to be expecting. And yeah, guys, that's pretty much gonna be it. BN, you have any last food for thought that you would want to put in there?
Food for thought. Food for thought is, I would say, lastly, just always do your due diligence. When you're, and this might be more so for management kingdoms and
Absolutely.
alliances, but probably more so kingdoms. Is just that, always do your due. Well, and this is like whether you're joining someone or if you're a king and you're letting someone in, or you're setting a cap at a certain rate. It's just always do your due diligence. Like, always take time to research. Always take time to ask questions. and ask hard questions, right?
Absolutely.
Because you want to make sure that wherever you go or anyone that you let into your kingdom is going to be there for the right reasons and they're going to be a good fit. And you should never settle for less.
I like that. I like that. All right, guys. Well, that's gonna be it for this video. I'm gonna drop our boy BN, aka Mr. Kingdom Builder. I love saying that. Uh, it's a good catch. It's a good catch. We'll be dropping his YouTube description down below, and he's definitely been covering a lot of this stuff. So make sure you guys check him out, guys. That's gonna be it for this video. It's your boy Guns and our boy BN here. We're out. Peace, guys.